Why it's terrible to own a Ferrari 488 GTB. The roar of the 670 horsepower twin-turbo V8 engine of your Ferrari 488 GTB echoes through the walls of your three-car garage in Bel Air. The vibration runs down your spine as the digital display lights up with that famous prancing horse. Tragic, isn't it? Now your neighbors know you're awake at 7 on a Sunday morning. What an absolute inconvenience to have an Italian engine that sounds better than any symphony ever composed. Welcome to the world of first-world problems on four wheels, where every inconvenience comes wrapped in carbon fiber and smells like Italian leather with a hint of trust fund. You remember the day you walked into the Ferrari dealership in Beverly Hills? The salesman, wearing an impeccable Italian suit that cost more than a Honda Civic, smiled when you pointed to the gleaming red 488 GTB. Excellent choice, he said, as if you had just selected a rare wine, not a vehicle that costs more than most houses in the American Midwest. The hardest part was deciding between the 17 shades of red. 17! As if Rosso Corsa, Rosso Scuderia, or Rosso Mugello made any real difference when you're getting speeding tickets on the Pacific Coast Highway. And the options? True psychological torture. Pay $5,000 extra for a carbon fiber horse emblem on the steering wheel, or $8,000 for a front axle lift system so you don't scrape the spoiler on speed bumps. Decisions no one should have to make. After signing the check that would make any normal person faint, you were informed you'd have to wait 6 months for delivery. 6 months. As if you were a plebeian waiting for the next iPhone. And when it finally arrived, you realized the trunk has space for only a medium backpack. How are you supposed to grocery shop at Whole Foods with this? Maybe that's why Ferrari owners always have that lean physique. There's simply no room to bring food home. Your first experiences with the car were complicated. Driving a Ferrari 488 GTB is like trying to control the Millennium Falcon during a hyperspace jump, only without Chewbacca to help with the controls. The 0 to 60 acceleration in 3 seconds leaves your stomach behind, as if it forgot to board. Your first trip to the supermarket turned into an unsolicited autograph session. Is it really yours? Can I take a picture? How much is the insurance? Privacy died the moment you turned the key. Then came the first trip to the gas station in Malibu. Fueling a Ferrari is like watching a real-time counter of your net worth decreasing. 12 miles per gallon in the city? Seriously? Your giant SUV does better than that. Not to mention you need premium gasoline, because apparently your car is more demanding about what it drinks than you are about your 30-year-old single malt whiskey. Daily life with a 488 GTB is a series of micro-traumas. Every speed bump becomes an exercise in advanced geometry and physics. At what angle should I approach this to not scrape the $20,000 carbon fiber spoiler? Parking is a nightmare. The car is wider than your pants after Thanksgiving dinner, and the rear visibility is comparable to looking through a mail slot. You become an expert at calculating distances in millimeters while praying not to hear that scraping sound that costs the equivalent of a semester at an Ivy League school to fix. And drive-thrus? Forget it. The door opens upward like a majestic eagle's wing, which means you can't open it completely in tight spaces without hitting the wall, ceiling, or worse, the car next to you. So you contort yourself like a Cirque du Soleil acrobat just to get your coffee. And when it's your turn to order, you have to lean out like a curious giraffe because the car is so low that the McDonald's attendant can't see you. Sorry, could you repeat the order? I can't hear over your engine. Oh, and parking tickets. Your Ferrari seems to have a built-in magnet for traffic officers. You could swear you parked legally, but somehow there's always a paper under the wiper when you return. It's as if the city of Los Angeles has a special tax for Italian supercars. Maintenance and care? A tragic comedy in several acts. The first scheduled service cost more than a week at a 5-star resort in Bora Bora. And it's not just the price, it's the logistics. You can't just take it to any corner mechanic. No, your precious Italian stallion needs to be serviced only by certified technicians who were trained in the sacred mountains of Maranello using tools made from rare metals extracted from some distant asteroid. An oil change costs the same as a month's rent in Queens. Tire replacement? You could buy a decent used car for the same price. And don't forget the Ferrari Genuine Maintenance Program, which sounds more like an exclusive cult than a maintenance plan. Every visit to the dealership is like handing over Tony Stark's arc reactor to a stranger. You just hope everything comes back working properly and that you don't have to sell a kidney to pay the bill. Social interactions with a Ferrari are interesting. There are two types of people in the world. Those who want to take selfies with your car and those who automatically assume you're an arrogant idiot. There's no middle ground. You become a reluctant photographer for tourists on Rodeo Drive. Can I sit in it? No. Can I start the engine? Definitely not. Can you take me for a ride around the block? This conversation is over. In the parking lot at Equinox in West Hollywood, the valet always puts your car in front, as if it were an art exhibition. This seems cool until you realize everyone is taking photos of you getting in and out of the vehicle. Wait until TMZ posts that photo where you look constipated, trying to gracefully exit the low seat after skipping the gym for 3 weeks. Long distance travel? An exercise in masochism. The suspension is so rigid that you feel every imperfection in the road. After 200 miles on Interstate 5 heading to San Francisco, your back will be begging for mercy. The engine noise, which is heavenly for the first 20 minutes, becomes a constant buzz that rivals tinnitus after a few hours. And there's no room for luggage unless you're practicing the minimalist art of packing or plan to buy new clothes when you arrive. Trying to find a hotel with with secure parking becomes a CIA-level mission. You're not just gonna leave $500,000 in Italian engineering on the street, and when you finally find a suitable hotel, the valet gets so excited that you have nightmares about him recreating scenes from Ferris Bueller's Day Off with your precious 488 GTB. And then comes the fateful day. You're driving peacefully down Sunset Boulevard, feeling like the king of the world, when suddenly a Ferrari 488 Pista, the newer, more powerful model, pulls up next to you at a red light. The driver, wearing sunglasses that probably cost more than dinner for two at Nobu, looks at your car and gives that head nod that means nice, but mine's better. At that moment, your 488 GTB, for which you waited 6 months and sold stocks to buy, suddenly feels like a 2010 Camry. It's like when you finally bought that new iPhone on launch day, and the next day they announce the next model with triple camera and a battery that lasts a week. Except this upgrade costs more than the beach house you almost bought in Malibu. Planned obsolescence was never so expensive. You start noticing all the flaws in your car. Only 670 horsepower? Pathetic. The Pista has 710. Your aerodynamics? Outdated. Your carbon fiber? Not as carbonic as it could be. Suddenly you're browsing the Ferrari website at midnight, calculating how much an upgrade would cost. Like an obsessed teenager planning to buy the new graphics card to game at higher resolution. Only your graphics card costs $200,000. And the worst part, the noise. No, not the glorious roar of the twin-turbo V8 engine that makes the hair on your arm stand up. It's the constant noise in your head. That voice that says, do you really need this? Every time you spend $500 filling up or $3,000 on routine maintenance, or when you have to contort yourself like a human pretzel just to get out of the car with some dignity. It's the same noise you hear when you realize you could have invested the money and bought a small island or funded a startup or fed a small nation. Instead, you have a vehicle that spends 90% of its time in the garage, collecting dust and depreciating faster than a gallon of milk forgotten in the trunk, which, by the way, wouldn't fit in your Ferrari's trunk. But then, you turn the key on a Sunday morning. The engine awakens with a roar that makes your chest vibrate. You roll down the windows, put your right foot on the accelerator, and suddenly all these problems disappear faster than your savings. The road opens before you like the Oscar red carpet. Every curve on Mulholland Drive is a perfectly choreographed dance between man and machine. For a fleeting moment, you understand why you spent the equivalent of 4 years of college on this red sculpture on wheels. And then you arrive at a gas station. In the end, owning a Ferrari 488 GTB is like being in a toxic relationship with someone incredibly attractive. You know it's expensive, irrational, and probably a mistake, but you can't help smiling every time you look at it. It's a series of ridiculous compromises wrapped in carbon fiber and painted in bright Italian red. So next time you see a gleaming Ferrari cutting through traffic in Manhattan or parked in front of Nobu in Malibu, don't be envious, feel sorry. That poor driver is probably wondering where to park without getting a ticket, how to pay for the next service, and whether they should have bought the newer model instead. A life of pure suffering, with 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3 seconds. And that's how our journey through the world of Ferrari red tragedies ends. I'll see you in the next video for more luxury suffering at high speed. Thanks, it's us.